They talk about it. 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 Welcome back to She Could Talk to Podcast. I'm your host, Gangali. Hey, and that's Gangale on all streaming platforms. If you want to check out my music, just look for the red glasses, look for the locks. You can find me there, and you let me know if I can rap, okay? But over here on YouTube, on She Could Talk to Podcast, I react to everything. I react to news, sports, crime, YouTubers, TikTokers, music. If they're talking about it, we're talking about it, okay? All right, and you know this week is everywhere. Who's not talking about it at this point? The Diddy trial, week one of the trial. Yo, it's only week one, and it's so much stuff came out. I'm traumatized. I'm traumatized. I'm from this era. This is really my era of hip hop, right? So I've been in the party. No, not those parties. I've been in places where I would, be an opening act or, met Biggie, I met Puffy, I've been in music videos, all different types of things in those times, right? Now, was I a video vixen? No, I was more like a rapper or extra. But, not the video vixen. Nah, that was never me. But that was my times. So a lot of things that we've heard, a lot of rumors, and this is before the internet for real. So a lot of the rumors and, hearsay, it was just that it was hearsay. We would hear some crazy story. I want to know, I'm not going to bring it up because, Little Kim is a woman in her 40s these days, and I wouldn't want nobody saying nothing crazy about me, Thank God they don't got that like that to say about me. Thank you, Jesus. They got some stories because I'm wow. I'm a rapper. You know what I'm saying? But not that type of wild, not on a sexual level. Maybe you might have thrown somebody off anyway. But I won't throw Little Kim under the bus. But I will say there was a rumor back in those days, and all I would say is it was Little Kim and a Sprite can. Tell me if y'all remember that one. Tell me if y'all remember that one. And the stories were crazy. The stories literally sounded like Cassie's deposition and Jonathan Oddi's interrogation. Unreal. Sounded crazy. And I used to hear these stories from people that were in the rooms, in real time back then. So it wasn't, this stuff doesn't surprise me. But it's just like, I'm from that generation where we went from hearing the rumors to seeing the truth, right? So it's like, wow. But anyway, I wanted to just do a quick recap, but I also wanted to start out with something that I said on my last, when they were picking I did a reaction to them picking the jurors and, getting ready for week one of the trial. And I said, I wonder if they'll have Jonathan Oddi as a surprise witness because of his allegations and claims from 2018 when he shot up Trump's hotel, the Doral. Now, he went there under the premise of saying that people were trying to, unalive the president at that time, and he was trying to bring him information. But everybody just thought he was a crazy man. Out here in Florida, right, it was very swept under the rug. And then when they finally gave information about him, and I've even highlighted it in my last Diddy episode, the Miami Herald did our news article. It's still online right now, where they basically said this guy is a bodybuilder from South Africa, refugee who was obsessed with Melania Trump, right? And that was it. So we're like, yeah, crazy guy, and you brushed it under the rug. He never mentioned Melania Trump other than being an immigrant like Melania. He's never mentioned any obsession with her or anything of the sort, right? But it was, in my opinion, made for good news and made for good distraction. My opinion, allegedly. But they mentioned his name, right? There was some debates among different circles of saying like, this dude is crazy, that he has nothing to do with Diddy, right? But I beg to differ. There was money changed. There was investments. There's receipts. There was large sums, couple of M's transferred to this guy from Diddy. He had a proof for it. But I wanted to get into, to start out with a follow-up on Jonathan Oddi, because they found him. I thought the dude might have been in protective custody. To me, it's still a little sus because, you'll see it here. The interview that went down. I still think it's a little sus, but someone was able to allegedly track him down and interview him, sorta. But let's get into it. Without further ado, we're gonna go into this week of review for Puffy's trial.
When police interrogated a man under arrest for shooting up Donald Trump's golf course back in 2018, his claims about being Diddy's sex slave at the Times, they seemed like the rantings of a madman. Well, now that man, you see here, he is speaking out again. This time from jail in an exclusive interview with News Nation. It is all very interesting to listen to now, his story in the context of what's happening with the trial. You're going to hear what he has to say next. May of 2018, a man named Jonathan Oddi opened fire at Donald Trump's Miami golf course and was shot and arrested by police. Now, Oddi said that he was in the middle of a bipolar episode. That's where it gets interesting. Later, while being questioned by Florida authorities, Oddi brought up something totally unexpected. He claimed that he'd been a sex slave for Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura. This video is courtesy of Real World Media. Take a look.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot of business, because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone.
And the reason why they even got to this, because, you know, cut and splice and editing, right? But the reason why so in the full, because even on my reaction to the interrogation on the last Diddy reaction I didn't play the full episode, the full interrogation. The full interrogation is like 30-40 minutes. But he starts out with saying, you know, the Stormy Daniels thing was a plot. You know, they were plotting to unalive the president because Trump was president at this time. This was his first term, and he's saying that, you know, there's a lot of things that he knows that he's trying to get to the president and tell him. And so they're like, you know, whatever. What do you have to tell the president? And so he's telling them what he knows, and they're like, well, how do you know this, right? And then he proceeds to say he was with Diddy. He was Diddy's employee and did things with Cassie. And then while he performed his job, he would be on the phone making deals, making, you know, business and handling business. So that's how he segued into Puffy.
And on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave.
So at the time, Oddi's story seemed too far-fetched to believe, but not anymore. And now, in an exclusive interview, Oddi opens up to News Nation senior producer Allison Weiner about his claims, beginning.
And they asked, I want to say like a couple of days ago, they asked Cassie if she knew him. And he said, oh, yeah, we've had a couple of sessions. Okay, so people were like, nah, he's crazy. He's not a credible witness. Allegedly, right now, he's not a credible witness because he's in jail, allegedly. But it's ironic because he's been in jail ever since he shot up the Trump's hotel without a trial.
With why he's agreed to talk now. Listen to this.
I felt bad because I got along well with her, and I think she's a decent person. And unfortunately, I had a suspicion that she was in a situation that she was in, but I wasn't sure. And now I understand the life, what was going on in her life, and what was happening. And him beating her up in the hotel shows me the type of individual he is, and confirms that everything that happened to me was true and correct and in line with his personality.
And to me, I'm gonna pause real quick. I feel like if that's him, because the jury's still out with all of this, right? But if that's him, you know, shout out to News Nation for securing that interview. Shout out to you all. So if that is him, though, he seems more relaxed than if you watch that initial interview, because if someone's trying to tell you something, they might come off a little manic. They might come off a little crazy, especially if it's a far-fetched story that you're probably like, no one's going to believe me anyway. You know, he said he had a breakdown during that time. During this conversation, he seems a little bit more calm, collected. Could it be vindication because he wasn't lying?
So he's speaking to us from a Miami jail now. Here is how Oddi says it all began for him.
I was a male Chippendale, a model Chippendale, you could say. And they called me for a show they called me an agency that I work for to do a show. And then I went out to the show.
That is all that you hearing is the video. That's not me.
Things led to them offering me more money to perform sexual acts. And that's it. That's how I basically got started. I get dressed like a police officer, I do a show, I do a strip down. And then, they offer me some more money. They offer me some more money to do some extra stuff.
So Oddi did get specific about the extra stuff that he says Diddy wanted from him, and these specifics were consistent with what he told law enforcement during the 2014 interrogation. Here,
also consistent with the information that was in Cassie's 2023 deposition.
is how he describes the atmosphere and how frequently it happened.
Candles, sensual atmosphere, lights off. He would sit in a corner in a sofa.
Do y'all remember her deposition?
Watch and masturbate. And he'd say, he'd tell her, give her instructions what to do to me. Perform oral sex, rub baby oil. Then he'd tell me rub baby on her, perform oral sex, and then have sex.
How many times did you have sex with Cassie?
Probably like 15 sessions.
Do you hear that? 15
and what
sessions.
did you get paid?
Somebody writing, taking some notes down. I hear somebody.
800 each time.
I don't know if y'all can hear that. I tell y'all, it's helpful. Like somebody writing with a pen going in.
They'll call me twice. I'll leave, and then 3 hours later.
It's like she's holding the phone to the mic to the phone, and she's taking notes.
No matter what your business is.
Here we go. Okay.
So Oddi claimed that the sessions were drug-fueled and that his concern for both Cassie and himself led him to get one of their sessions on video. Listen to what he says about that.
Why did you decide to record or video?
Because after she passed out, I decided to record that. So in the event anything worse happened, like if she died,
he wanted to save himself. Like if she, something happened, it wasn't me. This is how I left her.
So I wouldn't be responsible for any of that.
So you were beginning to worry about her doing drugs. I mean, like about her dying, or him dying, or somebody dying from the drugs, and that you would be held responsible. So you brought a video. You brought your phone?
No, I had a USB video memory stick done like a spy shop, and I put it in a wallet on the table, in the living room table of the hotel I was upstairs. I filmed it, and it had everything I described, and it had her threatening me, but he was telling her what to say. We had an argument. When I left, I knew they were paranoid. So I wanted to guarantee my safety. So I texted him.
Okay.
If anything happens to me, I got evidence of being with you. At the settlement table, there was a lot of irregularities. Okay. Mm-hmm. It was my first settlement. So they brought me in, and
because I'm kind of skipping around a bit here, but he's saying with 2 minute ski mask pointing. So he said that he caught an STD from the situation, right? From their encounters, and he sued Diddy. Or he told Diddy he was going to sue him. And Diddy said, did like an NDA, paid him $5 million, hush money, like chill. from there. So this is what he's talking about.
With two men ski masks.
Allegedly, guys.
Making gun signs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it was black white, and it had a red frame, okay? But that's the way he operates. He communicates, threatening you, like saying, I'm going to have you killed.
Interesting stuff,
So Oddi
right?
says to prevent the recording from going public, that's what he was just talking about. Diddy had him sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, in exchange for $5 million in hush money. This was in 2014. The Daily Mail ran a screenshot of what appears to be a signature page signed by Sean Combs and Oddi. We have not been able to obtain the document or verify its contents or authenticity, nor have we been able to verify the existence of the video that you heard him talking about. Now, according to Daily Mail's report, the timing coincided with a spending spree by Oddi of Florida real estate, and it also coincided with Oddi's divorce. His ex-wife tells the Daily Mail that she found out about his windfall only after their split.
So mind you, dude was married. He was a Chippendale dancer. I thought they said he was a personal trainer too, or he was into fitness, but or they said that in the Miami Herald article that he was like a fitness trainer. So he's doing all of this and working for Diddy and Cassie, and he was married. I'm telling y'all, you gotta be careful out there. And if it sound crazy, don't be like, oh, that's too crazy to be real. It can possibly be happening. Look.
Basically, the day the incidents happened at Trump National Doral, I had to take a medication, and I had been diagnosed bipolar, but I wasn't sure I was bipolar. And I had an episode, and basically, I've been taking medication every day. I've been stable. I had no issues in jail. I had that excellent behavior in jail. Yeah, I feel I'm ready to come out to society and be a productive member of society.
All right, so Oddi remains locked up in a Florida jail, still awaiting trial on charges of attempted murder, armed burglary, aggravated assault, and armed grand theft. Regarding the sex slave claims, we've reached out to Sean Diddy.
So those are the same charges from 2017, guys. He's still awaiting trial.
Combs team for comment and have yet to hear back. And thank you to Allison Weiner for that interview. We'll continue to investigate all of that. All right, still looking.
So this just highlights, guys. You see what's on the screen, guys. You see what's on the screen. Excuse me. I'm just highlighting some of the stuff that went on this week in the case. The brutal stuff, the graphic stuff. I'm new to the YouTube world, and I am trying to grow in the YouTube world. YouTube, I love you. So I'm not going to indulge too much in the graphic stuff, but it's everywhere, guys. It's everywhere. But 50 Cent joked Puffy this week because of this testimony. So I wanted to highlight this because
Sean Diddy Combs faces another lawsuit amid his ongoing sex trafficking trial in Manhattan federal court. A woman, identified as Jane Doe, alleges that Combs forcibly assaulted her with his Tootsie Roll-sized manhood without her consent in July 2001. In her lawsuit filed on May 14th, Doe described meeting Combs in May 2001 and socializing with him at various venues in New York City. She claimed things escalated when Combs took her to his apartment, where he allegedly locked her in his bedroom, pushed her onto the bed, and threatened, "I'm going to suck the life out of you." According to the lawsuit, Combs then unbuckled his pants and exposed himself, which Doe described as the length and girth of a large Tootsie Roll. She felt relieved, believing the lack of size would minimize the pain of penetration. Doe insisted she shouted for Combs to stop and communicated her lack of consent, but claimed he overpowered her. After the alleged assault, Doe stated that Combs finished on her. She cleaned herself in the bathroom and ran for the door, where a bodyguard directed her outside. One of Combs' staff reportedly drove her and a friend home. Following the incident, Doe reportedly ceased communication with Combs and sought psychotherapy to address the trauma, seeking damages for emotional, physical, and psychological harm. Combs has consistently claimed his innocence amid multiple graphic lawsuits filed against him since 2023. He is currently on trial for charges related to sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. His lawyers maintain, no matter how many lawsuits are filed, it won't change the fact that Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted or sex trafficked anyone.
So that's crazy, right? To me, I feel like it's not even about, whatever type of justice they're seeking. I think it's like humiliation. That's what I think it is.
They express confidence in the judicial process to reveal the truth and assert that he will prevail in court.
Fill us in on what has happened so far with...
So this is Court TV, and they're just going to go into some highlights, again, about things that happened so far in the trial in week 1. And I'm just highlighting a couple of things. So like I said, the super graphic stuff, I'm not going to get into it. But I am going to share a little bit of my opinions after this.
The much anticipated cross of Cassie Ventura.
Well, hi there, Ted. Yes, earlier, Cassie did ask for a short break. She is back on the stand right now. But before we came back from the break, she was standing there waiting for everyone to make their way into the courtroom. And she was holding something in her hands, and it appeared to be a rosary. At least it was beads of some sort. And she was going along the beads.
That's very... that sticks out to me, that she was in the hallway with her rosary. Anybody that know, and y'all go back and y'all look up Gene Deal, and y'all go look up, the bodyguards and all those interviews they did over the years about Puffy. And you'll see why that makes sense.
As if you're saying the rosary. So she was standing there. She has on a black blazer that's kind of like a tuxedo-looking blazer, but she's holding up pretty well today, seems to be in good spirits, and has been kind of chuckling at times on the stand, even in an exchange between her and defense counsel when they were talking about how she was going to be reading the communication messages between her and Sean Combs. In regard to Sean Combs, before they came back from that break, he was conferring a lot with his defense counsel, but as soon as Cassie got back onto the witness stand, he was sitting back in his chair very relaxed, just hands clasped in front of him and listening. At one point, he did start conferring with his counsel when some communications were being brought up on the screen. We do have a bit of the testimony that we can put up for you on our screen right now. We can talk about it, what was said so far inside that courtroom. So as I was mentioning what Cassie was wearing, this is what Combs is wearing. He has on a beige sweater, white collar, and gray pants. So he's kind of had the same kind of look every single day. His 3 sons and mother, they're in the courtroom. Combs tapped his chest when he made eye contact with them. And then Ventura, as I was mentioning, wearing a black tuxedo-style jacket with a light blouse, her hair tied back into a ponytail. And in regard to some of the testimony, let's take a look at that and what was said so far on the stand. So Ventura read loving emails between the couple from 2008. Combs said, "I'm a very lucky man. I love you. I miss you. I can't wait to hold you." And Ventura responded, "I'm a very lucky woman. I miss you so much. I'd fly wherever you needed me to, whenever. I love you." So that's an example of one of the things that was said today in court in regard to her testimony. We do have
I say this all the time. Women, not all women, I'm a woman, not all women, and men, there's some men and some women that would forsake themselves, forsake the safety of themselves, their children, their potential children, anything that is dear to them, they will forsake it for a guy, a rich man, a man that's perceived to have power. I'm telling you.
Another one we can put up for you in which she was testifying that she wanted more time and attention from Combs. "I haven't talked to you at all. I know you can take 3 minutes out of your day to talk to me, and you don't even try. I'm really hurt by the way you deal with me. I don't need your money. I need some attention. I am thankful, but I can pay for these things myself."
Very telling.
And Ted,
if a man is throwing you through a whole bunch of, Olympics type of activities with dudes from Craigslist, yeah, and you're still vying for his attention? All right.
I just walked from outside of the courthouse, and some of the other things that she was just testifying to are getting pretty graphic in nature. So I'm not going to be able to read everything on camera. But one of the things that's going to be important, and what defense counsel is picking up on, is an email. So when these emails or BlackBerry messages are being discussed, she is addressing them to Puffy, or Pop. That was the nickname that she had for him. And she told him that in order for me to be more open, I need to feel like you're my husband, that this is the only man who will have this aggressive sexual side of me. And this is where it gets to be important, because then she said,
I would love to be a fly on the wall when she goes home to Alex. Lord.
As in this email exchange, that in the beginning, when we were in love and we did these freak-offs, she responded and she said, it felt right. So that's what she says in that email. And defense counsel questioned her about that, and what she was referring to, it was those freak-offs. And she said, it felt right. She said, we were in love. And then she said, I'm afraid, though, that I'm becoming just one of your girlfriends in order for you to get your fantasies off. So they are going through all of these communications, Ted, between Sean Combs and Cassie, trying to establish consent, that she was a willing participant, and in fact, sending messages to him, one of which I'm not going to read, talking about the things that she wanted to be doing in these freak-offs.
Interesting. Yeah, and how would you describe the back and forth? Is it tense? Is it aggressive? I assume Tenny Garagos is doing it, a female defense attorney. How is this going? How would you describe it?
I think it's going well so far. It's not aggressive right now.
And I'm going to leave it right there because, Lord, this is just week one. So, just off of week one, right? And as we can see, they said that he's being charged with sex trafficking and racketeering, right? So, just off of week one, how do you all feel? Do you all feel like he's going to jail or he's going to get off? How do y'all feel? So, I'm on the fence still because I'm like this. This is so much tea for week one. And they're saying that it's supposed to be anywhere between 8 to 10 weeks of this. What else is there to come out? What else? And just like the first 4 days, we heard from 2 sex workers. The people them. And you 2 days worth of Cassie breaking it down, reading the text messages, going over the video and the footage. Oh my gosh. His lawyer made a good point. It shows that he has his ways and his preferences, but it doesn't make him, a trafficker or a racketeer in person. But maybe they're just setting this up for starters, and then we'll see what week 2 has, right? But, I don't know. I'm definitely tuned in, but I'm on the fence right now. 2 weeks ago, I'd have been like, they're just humiliating him. They're just going to basically break him down so they can't break him down no more. Like, make him lose all his money in legal fees and then just turn him loose. And then it's like, what do you have? Your reputation? Gone, right? Your ego? Annihilated. Your discography, your catalog? Gone. Right? So that's how I would have been feeling 2 weeks ago. Like, they're just trying to break him down, like a humiliation type of thing. And then once they feel like they've successfully done the job, they're going to get ready for him and send him home to his family. That was my first opinion. But now I'm getting a little nervous because this is week one. And there was a lot of graphic details that came out in week one. Now, some people could say they're consenting adults. They were, willing to be a part of it. So, but I'm on the fence. Like, how more intense of the information are they going to disclose to us as the viewing audience, the jury? Like, how much more are we going to get? Because this is a lot. The second part of me is like, I'm still leaning towards he's going to just be humiliated and then set free, because to me, I feel like listening to this stuff or whatever, in my opinion, they're doing a pretty good job of letting her look like she was kind of down. You know, people were saying that she curated some of the performers, right? And that she were, involved in a lot of the transactions of picking them, paying them, etc. And we know performing with them. In the beginning interview with Johnny Oddi or Jonathan Oddi, right? They asked him how many encounters can he recall having with Cassie and Puffy. He said 15. So those 15 encounters, coupled with 10 plus years in this relationship, coupled with all of the Met Galas, all of the glamorous pictures, all of the red carpet shots, it's making me as a woman feel conflicted, right? Because if you only got to do something like that to me one time, I'm out. You see what I'm saying? Unless it's something we do. And then, I don't know, the well dried up and you try to get him for some money because you basically know all his secrets and then this happened. I don't know. So that's where I'm at. As of week 1, I'm just going to say, me, Gangali, I'm on the fence. I don't know if he's coming home or if it's going to be, a thing like what happened, a repeat of R. Kelly. I don't know. I see a lot of people saying it might be he's like a O.J. Simpson 2.0. They're going to break him down till he has nothing, then let him go. He's not going to be guilty, but he has nothing and an ego. And, and we know O.J. spent the rest of his life trying to recapture his greatness. That we know he was great. Shout out to O.J. Simpson. He was great. But that stain of allegedly killing his wife and going through such a sensationalized trial messed him up. He didn't have to go to jail after that, right? And then to go to jail for stealing his trophies. Craziness. But I can see the same type of thing for Puffy, where they're going to drag out this trial. We're going to hear every piece of detail, only to just humiliate him and then let him go free. That's where I'm at week 1. I'm still on the fence. I don't know. Half of me feels like he's going to potentially get a charge, go to jail. The other half feels like it might not be, because 10 years to me is a long time to be with anyone that was abusing you like that. Forcing you to because it's one thing, if you're in an abusive relationship with someone who's physically abusing you, but then there's another to be in a physical abusive relationship, mental abusive relationship, and then he's making other men come and abuse you for his view and pleasure. That's crazy to me. And you stay 10 years. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care how many YouTube checks you get. I'm not staying. That's just me. But anyway, y'all, that's week 1. I'm out. I will be back with a week 2 weekend review wrap up. There are a lot of bloggers and reaction channels out there doing a great job. So shout out to you all out there. But I'm just going to stick to the highlights and kind of vet through from day to day because it's graphic, guys. It's graphic. And I don't feel too comfortable as a new YouTuber just going that far in just yet. But y'all tell me what y'all think. Am I right for being on the fence, or do you have strong conviction one way or the other? Join me in the comments and let me know what y'all think, all right? And I'll be back next week for week 2 in review on this trial. All right? But I'm going to leave y'all with the motto for right now. You know how I do. If you like anything I do, tell a friend. If you don't like anything I do, tell a friend, because it does not hurt either way. And from my lips to your ears, I love you, but I need you to go out there and love each other, be good to each other, and then come back over here and hit that like button, subscribe button, comment, share, and tell a friend, all right? And until next time, y'all, it's your girl Gangali. It's She Could Talk the Podcast, and I'm out. Peace.